10 minutes after the hour, Lee Greenwood singing God Bless America. Today is Monday, the 16th day of May, and we are starting a new book. We are going to be starting First Chronicles and giving you a little bit of an introduction as we start our program off this morning because there's some things that we have to explain, okay? Number one, we have about 8 chapters of genealogy as we start this book off. Very boring stuff to us. We start looking at First Chronicles chapter 1, Adam, Seth, Enosh, and just lists of names over and over. You go, if you're, let's put it on the screen already this morning. Chapter 2, these were the sons of Israel, Reuben, Simeon, Levi, Judah, blah, blah. We go to chapter 3, these were the sons of David who were born to him in Hebron. Ammon, Ahinoam, Daniel, Abigail. Verse 1, chapter 4, the sons of Judah. And we keep on going all the way, the descendants of Reuben, chapter 5, chapter 6, the descendants of Levi, chapter 7, chapter 8. You get the drift, you get where I'm going, and then we finally get into chapter 9 and even a little bit more genealogies there until we get into some something that we might understand a little bit better. But let me tell you what's going on here. The book of Chronicles, like the book of Samuel and like the book of 1st and 2nd Kings, was probably, well, for sure Chronicles and for sure Kings was written after the northern and southern kingdom had been taken into captivity. So I want to put this on a historical timeline for you. These books were written when you start talking about the Kings and Samuel and Kings and now Chronicles are already going to all together going to mention a lot of the same kings and some of even the same events from a little bit different perspective. So something that you might not have caught in Kings, the Chronicles might tell us about it, okay? So it's going to fill in the story a little bit more. But these books were written after the captivity, and you have to understand that we were looking at the end of 2nd Kings, and the southern kingdom, Judah, had finally been taken into captivity by the Babylonians. The Lord God Almighty, through the prophets, had already told them that they were going to be in captivity for 70 years. So they come back, and that's something that we're going to be covering one of these days in one of these books. We're going to be covering when they're coming back. And if you look at the end of 2nd Chronicles, they're already back in the land. In fact, let's go there real quick. I didn't expect to go there, but it doesn't hurt anything because we're doing a little bit of an introduction here, and we get way down to the end of the 36th chapter of 2nd Chronicles, the last verse of these books. It says, "Thus says Cyrus, king of Persia, all the kingdom of the earth, the Lord God of heaven has given to me, has commanded me to build him a house at Jerusalem, which is in Judah." Now, so just looking at that verse alone puts it on the timeline for us to understand is that Judah has been in captivity for 70 years, and Cyrus, remember it was Nebuchadnezzar, the king of Babylon, who had taken them into captivity, and now Cyrus is over these people. And the person, and a lot of people think it was Ezra. You know, there was no, we don't have a book of Ezra, do we? I'm almost positive. We have Nehemiah, but we don't have, Ezra is mentioned a lot in the Bible, especially post-exile. But and they believe that Ezra could have been the one who wrote these books that we've been in and that we're in right now. So it had to have been someone who was in captivity and who was coming back into the land. And you say, but why all this? What would you call it? All this genealogy stuff over and over again. Why are we looking at 8, 9 chapters of all? Because these people had been out of the land for 70 years, and they had to know who they were. We're going to get into portions of the book. I believe it's in Nehemiah where we're going to have to go through some of these people that have even stayed in the land and find out, and find out if they're real Jews or not, if they can trace their lineage all the way back to Abraham. So what they're doing is, as we start this book off and we say, well, this is boring, I'm going to change the channel, and we're going to go through it the way it is. We have committed ourselves to verse by verse, chapter by chapter, and because I'm a stubborn mule, I'm going to go through all of the 8, 9 chapters of genealogy and try to stumble through their names because that's what we have committed to here on the early morning program. But there's a reason, there's a sense behind this whole thing, and what I'm trying to do in my very weak and poor way is try to let you understand the why of it all. Who you were related to was super, super important to every Jewish person. What tribe were you of? Could you claim to be a Levite? And if you claim to be a Levite, could you claim to be a priest? Well, the only way that you could find out what tribe you were from or what course of priest you were is if you could trace your lineage all the way back to Levi, Aaron, or even further back to that, all the way to Abraham. So this was important. These people. So let's say Ezra, just because I don't want to. Let's Ezra, Nehemiah, Zerubbabel, all of these people. I love these guys. We'll be talking about them one of these days, and we'll be going over there. But here's what you need to do. These guys come back into the land, and when they come back to the land, they have to set things in order. They and knowing who you are, knowing where you fit, is part of the order. Another order that they are going to begin to establish is Mosaic order, covenantal order. The temple has been destroyed by the Babylonians. Remember, the wall was torn down around Jerusalem. The temple had been burned and had been destroyed, pretty much raised by the Babylonians, and that's R-A-Z, not R-A-I-S-E-D. And these people are going to come back, and they're going to be struggling. It's not going to be like they left. When they left, when they left, it was destroyed. But let's say a year or two before they left, there was a temple, there was a priesthood, there was tribal identity, there was order. We need order in our lives. We have to have order in our lives. Some more than others. Yeah, you're the person like me who has to set all of the sugar and the sweet and low packets in order at the restaurant, aren't you? And people need order. People need to know a sense of where they belong and who they are. I think that's an issue in the United States of America, that a lot of people don't even know who they are. We're moving from one side of the country to the other and all over the place, and we've kind of lost a sense of who we are. And these people are going to come back into the land, and when they come back into the land, they're going to have that sense. They're going to have identity. They're going to have an order. But the temple is destroyed. The land has been fallow for 70 years, and they're going to have to reestablish. The same thing is going to happen at the end of World War II, when the powers that be allowed the Jews to come back into Israel, and they gave them a piece of land over there on the eastern border of the Mediterranean, and they said, okay, you guys can come back into your land. You were persecuted in Eastern Europe and Germany, and we're kind of sorry for what we did, and we didn't say anything, so we're going to let you go back home. Not knowing that it was God's plan for their life. But these people are going to come back to a land that had been pretty much uninhabited. I mean, just some people living in tents and traveling by camels were there, and they were going to come back into the land. And when they came back into the land, they're going to have to start from ground floor. I think, and I would say that the people coming back from Babylon were even starting further down from ground floor. If you go to an area and nobody's lived there for a long time, well, okay. But these people were going to come to destruction. They're going to come to piles of stone, and they were going to come to areas to where they're going to have to clean everything out of the way before they could even start the rebuilding process. And we are not there yet in the rebuilding process that I'm talking about. What I'm telling you is that the writer of these books, especially Kings and Chronicles, is a person who has come back to destruction, who has come back to this rubble that is there that is called Israel. It wasn't just Jerusalem that had been torn down. Many of the major cities had been torn down all the way, first by the Assyrians, all the way up in Samaria and down to the southern end of Judah. They taught them a lesson. The Romans were going to do the same thing hundreds of years later. So understand kind of my introduction, and you probably are going to have to do your own. Good morning, Andrea. How you doing, mija? How was your weekend? You're probably going to have to be doing a little bit of homework on your own side so that we can understand the why. Because for me, understanding the why helps me out that much better to be able to go through these lines. And the book starts off. First Chronicles 1:1 starts talking all the way back to Adam. And we're going to be following genealogies, and we're going to be jumping around, and we're going to be looking at different. We're going to go to Abraham. From Abraham, we're going to go to his son and his grandson. We're going to go to the tribes, and we're going to find out some of these names. In fact, many of these names, we have heard them in the book of Genesis and beyond. We have heard these names before. So Ezra, I'm just going to say Ezra as that one name, as that one guy. It could have been a dozen or so scholars together who decided, let's get all of this material together for these people that are coming back into the land so that we can. And Nehemiah was going to use this information, because there were going to be people who were saying that they were Jews, but they were not. And they were going to have to prove, and some of them, Nehemiah, I believe it was Nehemiah, in his book, was going to have to confront some of them and say, you know what, dude? You're not who you say you is. Your identity doesn't match up. So that's just my little bit of a background to the book. That's just giving you something that we can kind of say, okay, that's where we're going to get started. And I would encourage you, because, I don't know how long it's going to take us to do the 8-9 chapters of genealogy, and I mean, it's worth the price of admission just to watch me stumble through some of these names. But there's a reason why. And I'm just trying to give you a little part of the reason why. And I want you to kind of grab onto that. There's people today, you know, here, a couple of examples. I had a cousin of my father who was from Los Lunas, because that's where my grandfather came from, who started doing the family tree. And Mr. Jimmy Sice, he believe he's still. I don't know if he's still with us or not. I don't think he is, but it doesn't matter. Anyway, Jimmy was from Los Lunas. He was county extension agent in that part of the world for a long time. And he had, and people are looking for their connection. Everybody's looking for their connection, ladies and gentlemen. You're looking for your connection there. And let me just throw this in there, until you find your connection to Father God, you're always going to be like a hanging chad. You just don't know where you fit till you find your connection in God. And these people, through all of these genealogies, are looking for. Here's another thing people are doing, and this is big business anymore. Whether it's how accurate it is, I have no idea. But people are spending a ton of money. When you put it all together, getting a Q-tip and swabbing the inside of their mouth, putting it in an envelope and sending it off so somebody can purportedly tell you who you are, where you're from, and where all your ancestors came from. Why? Why do we do stuff like that? Because we want to know where we fit and where we belong. Anyway, weather report coming up in 3 minutes. That was Louisa Sneed and William Kilpatrick singing "'Tis So Sweet to Trust in Jesus." 30 minutes after the hour. I am showing a current temperature here in the Meadow City of 54 degrees. Let's get into a weather report. Want to let you know that prayer line is open for you at 505-425-3717. That is our current today and tomorrow weather line number for you. And come on in. Give us a call at 505-425-3717. Updated weather report for you this morning. We don't want to see that screen. Partly cloudy today with areas of smoke and scattered thunderstorms. They're showing a 30% chance of precip today. High around 83 with east-northeast winds 7 to 21 and gusts up to 29 miles per hour. Tomorrow, sunny, high around 86, northwest wind 7 to 19, gusts up to 27. And on Wednesday, 20% chance of isolated thunderstorms with partly cloudy skies. A high around 83 degrees and gusts up to 26 miles per hour. And as I said at 6 o'clock this morning, those are clouds, not smoke that is out there in the atmosphere. Well, they might be mixed in a little bit with those with smoke, but I don't think so. I think they're mostly clouds. Just a harbinger. Oh, the harbinger. I should have said. Anyway, my wife and I saw Jonathan Cahn's movie Thursday night in Albuquerque, The Harbinger. And if anybody hasn't seen it, you better check it out. I don't know how you're going to find. I think it's going to come back out again this week on theaters before it goes onto different platforms to where you can watch it at. But you might. I mean, you want evidence. There it is, right there. 1 Chronicles chapter 1, verse 1. So what I tried to do for the first 20 minutes or so is give you a little bit of background of the why. Got to make excuses. Yeah, why? Well, there's a reason why. There's somebody just didn't have extra ink and wanted to keep on writing. From Adam to Seth to Enosh. We're going all the way back to Adam. We're going to get into some books in the New Testament, and it's going to do relatively the same thing. Both Matthew and Luke are going to cover genealogies. It was extremely, extremely important. Who's your daddy? Who's your daddy's daddy? Who's your daddy's daddy? And just go back further and further and further. Okay, so it starts off, and let's just go through it. Adam, Seth, Enosh. Now, this is not a comprehensive list. Where's Cain and where's Abel? We're going to go from Adam to his third son, Seth, to Enosh. And as I've said already, some of these names you're going to recognize. Some of these names, either you remember something about them, or you say, well, wait a minute, that's a place, not a person. Well, it's both, because sometimes people name places after themselves, like Martinez Town, Romeroville. No, Romeroville, okay? The Romeros must have lived there, or maybe they still do. Don't know. Andrea says it's very smoky in Espanola. Well, mija. You know what I heard? In fact, yesterday we got the report on our phones that Sipapu is on go status. That's not good. Anyway, that's another thing. First Chronicles 1:1. Adam, his son Seth. From there we go to Enosh. Canaan, Mahalalel, Jared, Enoch. Anybody remember Enoch? There are books that are out there that they say, oh yeah, this was the book of Enoch, and it should be in the scripture, but it's not in the scripture. And who was Enoch? He was the one who walked with God. He was the one who didn't die. He was the one who just went up into heaven and God took him. Now, I don't know about them books of Enoch. They're very confusing, and there's some stuff that doesn't line up with the rest of the Bible at all. And sometimes you could write a book and put somebody else's name on it. But a lot of people, studied books of Enoch. But he was in this lineage that the writer, that Ezra, I'm going to just call him Ezra. I don't know for sure if it was Ezra or not, but he stands out as probably one of the what would we call them? Theologians, one of the priests who put this together. Enoch, Methuselah. Huh? You've heard talk about you're as old as Methuselah. Lamech, Noah. Notice how we've gone just in 4 verses from Adam all the way to Noah. And then his sons, Shem, Ham, and Japheth. So when you get to Adam at the beginning of the book, all you hear is one of his sons, but you go to Noah, and what was this about the 8th chapter of Genesis? The 8th chapter, you go to Noah's sons, Shem, Ham, and Japheth, who were responsible for repopulating the earth after the flood. The sons of Japheth were Gomer, Magog, Madai, Javan, Tubal, Meshach, and Tiras. Now let's look at that verse 5. Okay, just trying to connect it a little bit. The sons of Japheth. So these were some of the grandsons of Noah. Hey, you get into the 38th and 39th chapter of Ezekiel, and these names are not just a person anymore. They are a people. Gomer, Magog, Tubal, Meshach. I don't know about Javan and Madai and Tiras, but let's just go over there real quick. Okay, and I haven't really, let's see, we're going to Ezekiel chapter 38. I love this stuff. The Son of Man, set your face against Gog, the land of Magog, the prince of Rosh, Meshach, Tubal, and prophesy against him. All right? So we kind of get, there is a connection. These are places now, not just people. But in the 5th verse of First Chronicles, Those were the grandsons, or some of the grandsons of Noah. Gomer, Magog, Madai. I like Javan, Tubal, Meshach, and Tiras. When we get to these names with eyes at the end, the sons of Gomer. Okay, so now we have the great grandsons of Noah, and we're following the line of Gomer. Ashkenaz, Diphath, and Togarma. Togarma's another name that you're going to find in the 38th and 39th chapter of Ezekiel. And 38th and 39th chapter of Ezekiel talks about a time where nations will come against Israel and surround them, and God will supernaturally protect and deliver Israel. Okay? The sons of Javan, which is another one of Noah's grandsons, were Elisha, Tarshish, Tarshisha, Kittim, and Rodanim. The sons of Ham were Cush, Mizram, Put, and Canaan. Now, there you say Canaan. Oh, yeah, Canaan land, named after him, the land of Israel. The sons of Cush were Seba, Havilah, Sabta, Raama, Sabteka. The sons of Ramah were Sheba and Dedan. Other names that you're going to find. So, what's going to happen is that these are the people that succeeded Noah, and they're going to travel around to different areas, and their names were going to be of the places where they settled, like Sheba and Dedan. So when you get into 38th and 39th chapter, you're going to find Cush. Cush begot Nimrod. He began to be a mighty one on the earth. Most of this stuff, most of these guys were just going to get into their names at the beginning, but the Ezras of the world had to put a little bit of a postscript on Nimrod. He began to be a mighty one on the earth. And there's a lot of study you can do about mighty one. What does it mean, a mighty one? Well, Nimrod was known for the Tower of Babel, wasn't he? And Babylon and all that stuff. See, that's where Babylon gets its name, is from the Tower of Babel. Babel means that God confused their tongue. And all of a sudden, people couldn't communicate with one another. And he began to be a mighty one on the earth. Interesting study on Nimrod. Mizraim begot Ludim, Anamim, Lahabim, thank you, Laphtuhim, Pathruzim, Cashulam, who became the Philistines, and the Caphtorim. Okay, so you find out that the Philistines, came from Casluhim. Philistines are mentioned much, and the postscript on this man's name is that's where the Philistines and the Caphtorim. We don't hear a lot about the Caphtorim, but we hear a lot about the Philistines in a lot of the verses that we've been in already. Canaan begot Sidon, his firstborn, and Heth, the Jebusite, the Amorite, the Girgashite. So now we're not just talking about persons, we're talking about tribes. The tribe of the Jebusites, the Amorites, the Girgashite, the Hivite, the Arkite, the Sinite. So the Sinite probably were living in the area of Sinai. The I just said maybe, okay? Arvadite, the Zemarite, the Hamathite, the sons of Shem were Elam, Asher, Arphaxad, Lud, Aram, Uz, Hul, Gether, Meshech. That's another name we're going to be looking at, Meshech, when we get into Ezekiel. Arphaxad begot Shelah, and Shelah begot Eber. Eber were born two sons. See, these people were going to come back from the captivity, and they're going to be able to go to Ezra, and they're going to be able to put out the books, and they're going to be able to find out who they were, and they were going to be able to trace their lineage all the way back to Adam through one line or another. And what line you were part of was determined uh, uh, where you lived. And let me tell you, when the people first started coming back into the land, they were going to go to Benjamin and Gad and Asher and places like that. They were going to kind of huddle together in one place, and then little by little from there, they were going to establish the land. Verse 18 says, Arphaxad begot Shelah. Shelah begot Eber. To Eber were born two sons. The name of one was Peleg. For in his days the earth was divided, and his brother's name was Joktan. So every time you get to these little postscripts about these names, it makes it leads you into an interesting study. Well, what does it mean that the earth was divided? What was Peleg? And try to go to the book of Genesis and find out, who. And here's a good way of doing it. If you have a program like I do, we can go to a search and we can find out where does it talk about Peleg. Genesis chapter 10, 11, and then now in First Chronicles, even Luke in his genealogy talks about Peleg. For in his days the earth was divided, and his brother's name was Joktan. Remember, we're post-flood here. Joktan begot Almodad, Sheliph, Hazarmaveth, and Jerah, Hadoram, Uzal, Dikla, Ebal, Abimael, Sheba, another Sheba, Ophir, Havilah. Remember Havilah and Ophir? Wasn't that the land that the gold was? Let's do a search there, okay? The gold was good in Ophir. They went, 1 Kings chapter 9, they went to Ophir and acquired 420 talents of gold from there and brought it to King Solomon. So this man, Ophir, established a land spread out over into an area where the gold was good. Havilah, Jobad, okay, I think Havilah was the same. They were kind of close to each other. Let's see what it tells us about Havilah. But they dwelt in Havilah as far as Shur, from Havilah all the way. Okay, it doesn't give me what I was looking for on Havilah. These were the sons of Joktan, Shem, Arphaxad, Shelah, Eber, Peleg, Reu, Serug, Nahor, Terah, and Abram, who is Abraham. So notice that we get into verse 27, and we've done a real quick breakdown of the genealogy all the way from Adam to Abraham. This is where it really gets interesting for a Jewish person, because, you can trace your lineage all the way to Abraham, where where many things started for them in a family way. The sons of Abraham were Isaac and Ishmael. We know a lot about Isaac, and we really know a lot about Ishmael, because in the book of Genesis, we talked about it. These are the genealogies. The firstborn of Ishmael was Nebajoth, then Kedar, then Adbeel, and Mibsham, Mishma, Duma, Maasa, Hadad, Tema, Jetur, Naphish, and Kedema. These were the sons of Ishmael. And I believe, I haven't counted them, but I think there were 12 sons of Ishmael. Okay? The sons born to Keturah, Abraham's concubine, were Zimran, Jokshan, Medan, Midian, Ishbak, and Shua. The sons of Jokshan were Sheba and Dedan. Other names, Sheba and Dedan, we're going to find in Ezekiel chapter 38. Why do I keep referring to Ezekiel 38 and 39? Because that's the only connection that I have besides some Genesis scriptures. The sons of Midian. Well, and then another thing about Ezekiel 38 and 39, it's a prophecy that has not happened yet. It's something that is still in the future to come. And I believe it's fairly close that we're going to see Ezekiel 38 and 39 for various reasons. Number one is that I know through world history that we haven't seen it yet. There's no one out there who can tell you that Ezekiel 38 and 39 has already passed, because it hasn't. The sons, it would be fake news if they would try to tell you it was. The sons of Midian were Ephah, Epher, Hanok, Abida, Eldaah. These were the children of Keturah. And Abraham begot Isaac. The sons of Isaac were Esau and Israel. Israel? I don't remember. Yeah, Jacob. They're giving him the name Israel here in the Chronicles. Sons of Esau were Eliphaz, Reuel, Jeush, Jeliam, and Korah. The sons of Eliphaz were Teman, Omar, Zephi, Gatam, Kenaz, and by Timnah, Amalek. Oh my God, we remember this name right over here, Amalek, the Amalekites, the flesh. The sons of Reuel were Nahath, Zerah, Shema, and Mizah. The sons of Seir were Lotan, Shobal, Zibeon, Ana, Dishon, Ezer, Dishon. The sons of Lotan were Horai, Homam. Lotan's sister was Timnah. Well, finally mentioned a woman out over there. It's about time. The sons of Shobal were Alian, Manahath, Ebal, Shephi, Onam. The sons of Zibeon were Ajah and Ana. The sons of Ana was Dishon. The sons of Dishon were Hamran, Eshban, Ithran, and Cheran. You say, well, why are we doing? Oh, because we committed ourselves to verse by verse. The sons of Ezer were Bilhan, Zaavan, and Jachan. The sons of Dishan were Uz and Aaron. Now, these were the kings who reigned in the land of Edom before a king reigned over the children of Israel. Okay? The Edomites. The Edomites. Who were the Edomites? They were Esau's descendants. Sometimes they were friendly with Israel, and other times they were not. These were the kings who reigned in the land of Edom before a king. So, potentially, the children of Israel saw the kings that were in Edom, and that's when they went to Samuel and requested a king like all the nations around them, Edom being one of them. These were the kings who reigned in the land of Edom before a king reigned over the children of Israel. Bela, the son of Beor, and the name of the city was Dinhabah. And when Bela died, Jobab, the son of Zerah of Bozrah, reigned in his place. When Jobab died, Husham, the land of the Temanites, reigned in his place. When Husham died, Hadad, the son of Bedad, who attacked Midian in the field of Moab, reigned in his place. The name of his city was Avith. When Hadad died, Samlah of Masrekah reigned in his place. When Samlah died, Saul of Rehoboth by the river reigned in his place. When Saul died, Baal-Hanad, this is not the Saul, the first king of Israel. I don't think it is. When Saul died, Baal-Hanad, the son of Akbor, reigned in his place. When Baal-Hanan died, notice the name Baal, reigned in his place, and the name of the city was Pai. His wife's name was Mehetabel, daughter of Matred, the daughter of Mezahab. Yeah, I tried practicing all of these names earlier, so good luck on that. These are names that, if you were writing a movie like maybe Star Wars or something like that, Star Trek, you could pull out some of these names, and they're some of the more obscure names. Give them their names. Hadad died also. The chief of Edom were Chief Timnah, Chief Aliah, Chief Japheth, Chief Aholibamah, Chief Elah, Chief Pinon, Pinon, Chief Kenaz, Chief Teman, Chief Mizbar, Chief Magdiel, Chief Iram. These were the chiefs of Edom. So a lot of print here on the second half of the first chapter of First Chronicles concerning Edom. These were the sons of Israel. Now, okay, notice the title above. We're going to be looking at the genealogy of David. And we're going to go through the sons of Israel. Israel was the grandson of Abraham. Remember, it was Abraham, then it was Isaac, then it was Jacob/Israel. And these are the great-grandsons of Abraham, who was Abram at one time. And go back all the way to our study in Genesis, and we talk about that when we were in those chapters. Reuben, Simeon, Levi, Judah, Issachar, Zebulun, Dan, Joseph, Benjamin, Naphtali, Gad, and Asher. You say, I recognize these names. Yes, we do, because we've been through a lot of history about Reuben, Simeon, Levi, Judah, Issachar, Zebulun, Dan, Joseph, Benjamin, Naphtali, Gad, and Asher. The sons of Judah were Onan, and Shelah. Now, David was going to go through the line of Judah. So that's why he's looking at the genealogy of David. This is going to be the line of the kings, not the line of the priests. Line of the priests, we're going to go through Aaron, which is Moses' brother, way back. Didn't even mention him. The sons of Judah were Onan, Shelah. These three were born to him by the daughter of Shua, the Canaanitess. The firstborn of Judah, was wicked in the sight of the Lord, so he killed him. Okay. Tamar, his daughter-in-law, bore him Perez and Zerah. All the sons of Judah were 5. The sons of Perez, you say, what was verse 4 about? Slow down there. Tamar, his daughter-in-law? Oh, yeah. You're going to have to go back to Genesis. In fact, let me give you a place to where you can, if you want to follow that up a little bit, Genesis chapter 38. They give you some information on that. Tamar's daughter-in-law bore him Perez, Dela. The sons of Judah were 5. The sons of Perez were Hezron and Hamuel. The sons of Zerah were Zimri, Ethan, Heman, Calcol, and Dara, 5 of them all. The sons of Carmi was Achar, the troubler of Israel, who transgressed in this accursed thing. Remember? Remember when they were coming through the wilderness? Let's see if I can get you one for that too. Joshua, the accursed thing. I expected it to be something. Deuteronomy chapter 13, I think, is where you're going to be getting a little bit more about that. The son of Ethan was Azariah. The sons of Hezron who were born to him were Jerahmeel, Ram, Chelubai. Why can't we just have some James and some Michaels and some Johns? Ram begot Aminadab, and Aminadab begot Nahshon, leader of the children of Judah. Nahshon begot Salma. Salma begot Boaz. Boaz begot Obed. Obed begot Jesse. Jesse begot Eliab, his firstborn. Abinadab the second. Shemaiah the third. Nethanel the fourth. Redai the fifth. Ozem the sixth. And David the seventh. Remember when Samuel goes to anoint the king, and he goes to the house of Jesse. Jesse brings out 6 of his sons. Samuel's looking for a king, and the Lord says, "There's not any one of these guys over here." On the outside, they look like they might be the one, but they ain't. More music here on 95.7. We have a choir, the fire singing "I Surrender All," taking us up to the top of the
We're going to sing an old-fashioned hymn to a little bit different beat. Sing it with all your heart to the Lord.
To Jesus I surrender all. To
belong to Him. Surrender all that we are to Him.
Well, good morning, Las Vegas. You are listening to KLYNLP Monday morning, the 16th day of May. Maybe I shouldn't have turned that one off. Mark Size, your host here on the early morning program. I'll be with you till 10 o'clock in the morning. At 10 o'clock, it's a Cliff Schaefer show. At 2 o'clock, it is Cisco V1. And for you Facebook and YouTube people, we'll be on here for another, 20 minutes or so, maybe. We got a lot of stuff to cover, and you say, well, what's that all about? Good question. There's a lot of, and we tried answering maybe a little bit of those questions between 6:10 and the bottom of the hour. 6:27 or so is when we, just a little bit of background. Why so much of this stuff? They wasted all of our paper, all these chapters. No, they didn't. It was extremely important to them. It had everything to do with their identity, their foundation, who they were, all the way back to Adam. The son of Carmi was Achar, verse 7. The troubler of Israel, who transgressed in the accursed thing. The son of Ethan was Azariah. The son of Hezron, who were born to him, was Jerahmeel, Ram, and Chelubai. The Ram begot Aminadab. Aminadab begot Nahshon, leader of the children of Judah. Nahshon begot Salma. Salma begot Boaz. So we went all the way down and find out all the way down to David, the seventh son of Jesse. Now, their sisters, okay, very important. David is the man, and comes down, one of the top three in Israel's history. And there's a lot of print there for his genealogy. His sisters were Zeruiah and Abigail. The sons of Zeruiah were Abishai, Joab, and Asahel. Remember, Abishai, Joab, and Asahel were captains in David's army. They were his nephews. Okay, and caused him a ton of problems. They were real good, and other times they caused him a lot of trouble. Abigail bore Amasa. The father of Amasa was Jether the Ishmaelite. Caleb, the son of Hezron, a different Caleb, had children by Azubah, his wife, and by Jerioth. These were her sisters, Jasher, Shobab, Ardon. When Azubah died, Caleb took Ephraim as his wife and bore him Hur. And Hur begot Uri. Uri begot Bezalel. Afterward, Hezron went into the daughter of Machir, the father of Gilead, whom he married when he was 60 years old, and she bore him Segub. Segub begot Jair, who had 23 cities in the land of Gilead. Looks like J.R. was doing pretty good for himself. If you're looking just at quantities of cities. Gesher and Syria took from them the towns of J.R. with Kenath and its towns, 60 towns. All these belong to the sons of Machir, the father of Gilead. And all these extra little postscripts that we see, for persons like the theologians that are really going to study the Bible, they're going to be able to pick up some of this information and say, that answers what was going on there and there and there. After Hezron died in Caleb Ephrathah, Hezron's wife bore Abijah, bore him Asher, the father of Tekoa. The sons of Jerahmeel, the firstborn of Hezron, were Ram, the firstborn, and Bunan, Oren, Ozim, and Ahijah. Jerahmeel had another wife, whose name was Atara, and she was the mother of Onam. The sons of Ram, the firstborn of Jerahmeel, were Maaz, Jamin, and Eker. The sons of Onam were Shammai and Jada. I don't recognize hardly any of these names. The sons of Shammai were Nadab and Abishur. The name of the wife of Abishur was Abihail, and she bore him Ahab and Molded. The sons of Nabed were Seled and Appaim. Seled died without children. The sons of Appaim was Ishai. The son of Ishai was Shishan, and Shishan's son was Ahilai. You try it. The sons of Jada were brother of Shammai, were Jether and Jonathan. Jether died without children. The sons of Jonathan were Peleth and Zazah. These were the sons of Jerahmeel. Now Shishan had no sons, only daughters. And Shishan had an Egyptian servant whose name was Jerah. Shishan gave his daughter to Jerah, his servant, as wife, and she bore him Attai. Attai begot Nathan. Nathan begot Zadab. Zadab begot Ephlal. Ephlad begot Obed. Obed begot Jehu. Jehu begot Azariah. Azariah begot Helez. Helez begot Eliasah. Eliasah begot Sismai. Sismai begot Shalem. Shalem begot Jechamiah. Jechamiah begot Elishama, the descendants of Caleb. The brother of Jerahmeel were Misha, his firstborn, who was the father of Ziph. The sons of Marisha were the father of Hebron. The sons of Hebron were Korah, Tapua, Recham, Shema. Shema begot Raham, the father of Jorkoam. And Recham begot Shimei. The sons of Shimei was Maon, and Maon was the father of Beth-zur. Ephah, Caleb's concubine, born Hazran, Moza, Gazes. Haran begot Gazes. The sons of, this is getting hard, Jadai were Regem, Jotham, Jeshan, Pelet, Ephah, and Sheaph. Maacah, Caleb's concubine, bore Sheber and Tirhana. I don't remember a lot of these names. You know, they might have been at different places, but I don't remember. They weren't prominent. The name Caleb, of course, is. But I don't know if this is the same Caleb that we're looking at. She also bore Sheaph, the father of Madmana, Sheba, the father of Machbenah, the father of Gibeah, the daughter of Caleb was Aksha. These were the descendants of Caleb, the sons of Hur, the firstborn of Ephrathah, were Shobal, the father of Kirjath-jearim. We know Kirjath-jearim is a place, not just a person. Salma, the father of Bethlehem. There you go. Hereph, the father of Beth-gader. Shobal, the father of Kirjath-jearim, had descendants. Haroah, the families of the Manuhoth. Families of Kirjath-jearim were the Ithrites, the Puthites, the Shumathites, the Mishrites. From these came the Zorathites and the Eshtaolites. The sons of Salma were Bethlehem, Netophathites, Atroth, Beth Joab, half of the Manathites, and the Zorites. The families of the scribes who dwelt at Jabez were Tirathites, the Shimeathites, and from the Sukathites. These were the Kenites who came from Hamath, the father of the house of Rechab. So plodding through to chapter 3. Okay, don't forget prayer line as well. You said, this is a great time to call the prayer line. I ain't going to miss much. 505 425 3717. And right now they might not mean much to us, but maybe sooner or later, one of these days, they will. Now, these were the sons of David who were born to him in Hebron. The firstborn was Amnon by Ahinoam the Jezreelitess. The second, Daniel by Abigail the Carmelitess. The third, Absalom, the son of Maacah, the daughter of Talmai, king of Geshur. The fourth, Adonijah, the son of Haggith. The fifth, Shephtai by Abital. The sixth, Ephraim by his wife Eglah. These six were born to him in Hebron. There he reigned 7 years and 6 months. In Jerusalem he reigned 33 years. So we realize that for the first 7.5 years, is that all of Israel didn't recognize David as king, only Judah and Benjamin did. And then the last 33 years of his 40-some-odd year reign, all of the nation recognized him. These were born to him in Jerusalem. Part of the problem with David's, for them recognizing David was king, was the Benjamites, who really wanted to have a descendant of Saul after Saul passed away and Jonathan passed away also. And they wanted to keep it within their family, and God didn't. And most of the kings of Judah after that were of the line of David. I think some people might say, well, wasn't all of them? I don't know. I don't think so. With all the assassinations and everything that was going on. These six were born to him in Hebron. There he reigned 7 years and 6 months. And in Jerusalem he reigned 33 years. These were born to him in Jerusalem: Shemaiah, Shobab, Nathan, and Solomon, four by Bathshua, the daughter of Amiel. Would that be Bathsheba? Because that was Solomon's. Although there were Ibhar, Elishama, Eliphalet, Noga, Nephid, Japhia, Elishama, Eliphalet, 9 in all. These were the sons of David, besides the sons of the concubines, and Tamar their sister. Solomon's son was Rehoboam. See, it was going to be David. Well, first it was going to be Saul, first king. Then it was going to be David after him. Then it was going to be Solomon, his son. And then it was going to be Rehoboam, his grandson. And that's where the split between the north and the south was. We understand that. We were in there pretty deep when we were in First Kings and also in Book of Samuel. Abijah was his son, Asa his son, Jehoshaphat his son, Joram his son. Oh yeah, we've been studying these. Azar his son, Joash his son, Amaziah his son, Azariah his son, Jotham his son. Notice these are the kings of Judah. Ahaz his son, Hezekiah his son, Manasseh his son, Ammon his son, Josiah his son. The sons of Josiah were Johanan, the firstborn, the second Jehoiakim, the third Zedekiah, and the fourth Shallum. The sons of Jehoiakim were Jeconiah his son and Zedekiah his son. The sons of Jeconiah were Asher and Shealtiel his son, and Malchiram, Pedaiah, Shenazar, Jechemiah, Hoshama, and Nidabiah. The sons of Pedaiah were Zerubbabel, and Shimei. The sons of Zerubbabel were Meshullam, Hananiah. See, these were people who were going to come back in the land. These are the people that were going to come back after the captivity, I believe, when we start talking about Zerubbabel and his sons. The sons of Hananiah, that's why we know that this book was not written before the captivity, but after. The sons of Hananiah were Pelatiah and Jeshaiah. The sons of Rephaiah were the sons of Arnan, the sons of Obadiah, and the sons of Shechaniah. The sons of Shechaniah was Shemaiah. The sons of Shemaiah were Hattush, Igal, Beriah, Neariah, Shaphat. 6 in all. The sons of Nenariah were Elioniah, Hezekiah. There's one I can pronounce, at least close. Azrikam. 3 in all. The sons of Elinoi were Hodaviah, Elishib, Peliah, Akub, Johanan, Delaiah, and Anani. 7 in all. Another chapter out of the way. The sons of Judah. Okay, now we're going back. Okay, the sons of Judah. Who is Judah? Judah was grandson or great-grandson of Abraham. Sons of Judah, the lines of the king, the kingly tribe. Sons of Judah were Perez, Hezron, Carmi, Hur, Shobal, Reiah. The son of Shobal begot Jahath. Jahath begot Ahumai and Lahad. These were the families of the Zorathites. You know, what I should have done is I should just put this on the, I don't know if I have it here, if we can even do it or not. Yeah, we can. Let's see if it plays for you.
First Chronicles 4.
No, it doesn't show it up on the
Sons of Judah.
on your site over there. But if you go to eSword, you have that downloaded, and you download the ESV Bible. They have it in audio, so I could just let this run and let them pronounce all these names for us. That, we ain't going to let somebody else do our job. Anyway, Kristen is with us this morning also. The sons of Judah, Perez, Hezron, Carmi, Hur, Shobal, Reiah, the son of Shobal, fathered Jahath, and Jahath fathered Ahumai and Lahad. These were the clans of the Zorathites. These were the sons of Etam, Jezreel, Ishma, Idbash, and the names of their sister was Hazelaponi, and Penuel fathered Gedor, Ezer fathered Husha. These were the sons of Hur, the firstborn of Ephrathah, the father of Bethlehem. We covered that before. It seems like we're going. There was a person named Bethlehem before, wasn't there? Asher, the father of Tekoa, had 2 wives, Helah and Naarah. Naarah bore him Ahuzam, Hefer, Temni, and Ha'ashtari. These were the sons of Nemariah. I'm trying to find out who the father of Tekoa. Asher, the father of Tekoa, had 2 wives. Okay. The sons of Helah, Zereth, Izhar, Ethnan, Koz fathered Anub, Zobeda. The clans of Aharel were the sons of Haram. Jabal was more honorable than his brothers. Jabez was more honorable than his brothers, and his mother called his name Jabez, saying, because I bore him in pain. Remember, there it is. There it is in 1 Chronicles chapter 4. Going to have to remember it. It's in front of us. Jabez called upon the God of Israel, saying, "Oh, that you would bless me and enlarge my border, that your hand might be with me, that you would keep me from harm, so that it might not bring me pain." And God granted what he asked. It's about 15 or 20 years ago that a man wrote a book about Jabez, and then people started writing songs about this whole that you would bless me and enlarge my border is what his prayer was. Okay? And that your hand might be with me, that's a good prayer. You want that prayer? Chalub, the father of Shuha, fathered Meher, who fathered Eshton. Eshton fathered Beth Rapha, Paseah, and Hananiah, the father of Erna. These are the Nahash. These are the men of Rekah. The sons of Kenaz, Othniel, Seraiah, the sons of Othniel, Hatha, and Meonathai. Meonathai fathered Ophrah. Seraiah fathered Joab, the father of Jeharashim, also called because they were craftsmen. The sons of Caleb were the sons of Jephunneh. Caleb, yeah, we remember Caleb. Caleb was with Joshua in the wilderness. Jephunneh, Iru, Elah, Naaman, the son of Elah, Kenaz, the sons of Jehalalel, Ziphah, Turiah, and Azarel, the sons of Ezra, Jether, Mered, Epher, and Jalon. These are the sons of Bithiah, the daughter of Pharaoh, whom Mered married, and she conceived and bore Miriam, Shammai, Ishba, the father of Eshtemoa. And his I'm looking at the clock. I'm saying, okay, his Judahite wife bore Jared, the father of Gedor, Heber, the father of Soko, Jekuthiel, the father of Zanoah. These were the sons of the wife of Hodiah, the sister of Datham. These were the fathers of Keliah, the Garmite, and Eshtemoa, the Maacathite. And I hope nobody is trying to use this as a resource on how to pronounce these names, because I know I'm not correct on most of them. The sons of Shimon were Amnon, Rinnah, Ben-Hanan, Tilon, the sons of Ishai, Joheth, and Ben-Zoheth. The sons of Shelah were Judah. The sons of Shelah, the son of Judah. The father of Lekah, Laada, the father of Marishah, and the clans of the house of linen workers at Beth Eshabeah, and Jocham, and the men of Kozabah, and Joash, and Seraph, who ruled in Moab and returned to Lehem. Now their records are ancient. These were the potters who were inhabitants of Netaim, Gedera, who lived there in the king's service. Imagine these guys coming back into a destroyed Israel, into a destroyed Jerusalem, into a destroyed temple, and trying to rebuild all of these records. The sons of Simeon, Nemuel, Jamin, Jareb, Zerah, Shaul. Shalom was his son, Mibshan his son, Mishma his son. Thank you, Andrea. Thank you very much. Really, all we're interested in is getting through up to 9, and then it begins to level out a little bit. Yeah, we're not going to have, what do we call it, 31 chapters of this. I would jump right over it. In fact, I probably should have jumped over it. Shimei had 16 sons and 6 daughters, but his brothers did not have many children, nor did all their clan multiply like the men of Judah. They lived in Beersheba, Moladah, Hazar Shual, Bilhah, Ezem, Toldad, Bethuel. Thank you for the smiles. I appreciate it. Hormah, Ziklag, Beth Markaboth, Hazar, Shushim, Beth Bibri, and these were the cities until David reigned. And their villages were Etam, Ain, Rimmon, Token, Ashan. 5 cities along with their villages were all around the cities as far as Baal. There's that name again, Baal. These were their settlements, and they kept a genealogical record. Meshobab, Jamlik, Joash, the son of Amaziah, Joel, Jehu, the son of Joshibiah, the son of Zerahiah, the son of Asiel, Elio. This is an interesting one, verse 36. Elioniah, Jacobeth, Ashael, Adil, getting real tired. Ziza, the son of Shephi, the son of Alon, the son of Jedaiah, the son of Shimri, the son of Shemaiah. These were mentioned by name, were princes in their clans, and their fathers' houses increased greatly. They journeyed to the entrance of Gedor, to the east side of the valley, to seek pasture for their flocks, where they found rich, good pasture. The land was very broad, quiet and peaceful, for the former inhabitants there belonged to Ham. Kind of reminds you of another story in the book of Genesis. These Registered by Name came in the days of Hezekiah, king of Judah. Okay, we were looking at Hezekiah in 2 Kings chapter 18. So you want to go back and find out more about this king of Judah. There's where you're going to find it. And destroyed their tents, and the Meunites who were found there marked them for destruction to this day, and settled in their place, because there was pasture there for their flocks. Everybody looking for the good pastures, what they were looking for. Not pastor, but the pasture. Okay, just to let you know. They registered by name, came in the days of Hezekiah. I think we read that one already, verse 42. And some of them, 500 men of the Simeonites, went to Mount Seir, having their leaders Pelatiah, Neariah, Rephaiah, and Uzziel, the sons of Ishai. They defeated the remnant of the Amalekites who had escaped. They have lived there to this day. Bookmark on chapter 5, verse 1, and we will continue tomorrow right about there. And once again, this was important to these people who were coming into the land. To them, this was their connection. This was their identity. And I tried covering that in the first 20 minutes of today's program a little bit more, and then encourage you to do your own homework after this. So what we're going to do is we're going to put our bookmark on verse 1, chapter 5 of 1 Chronicles. We're also going to remind you that prayer line is open till 8 o'clock at 505-425-3717. Well, at least we're trying. With all these names and everything like that, at least we're trying to get in. We're going to, at the end, this is the third time that we go through the Bible, not the first time that we've gone through these lists. But anyway, have it on video. I don't know how long we're going to get it on Facebook, YouTube, and stuff like that. This is Hosanna. Hold up the Chronicles. This is the KLYN.
Yo no sé cómo explicar qué fue lo que yo sentí en el día que Cristo vino a mi corazón. Fue algo maravilloso que aún guardo el gozo del Señor, aún siento el poder que Cristo vino a mi alma a traer. Ahora que ya soy salvo, fui revestido que llegue el día final. Prepara mejor tu alma, que un día cuentas te pedirá. Responde presto a tu nombre y con él en gloria gozarás y tendrás la vida eterna. Triunfa y encuentra la felicidad. Las canciones que hoy te canto son inspiradas del corazón. Mi vida Dios ha cambiado. Le digo al mundo adiós, adiós. Si quieres un buen amigo, yo tengo uno, ese es mi Dios. Su morada está en los cielos, de este mundo es el Señor.
30 minutes and 30 seconds after the hour, let's get into a weather report for today. Partly cloudy, areas of smoke, and a 30% chance of scattered thunderstorms. High around 83 degrees. East-northeast winds 7 to 21, and gusts up to 29 miles per hour. So some of those clouds that we're looking at are not clouds of smoke. They could be a chance a precip coming our way. Tomorrow, sunny, high around 86. Northwest wind 7 to 19, gusts up to 27. And Wednesday, partly cloudy with isolated thunderstorms, high around 83. North wind 6 to 18, gusts up to 26. And a 20% chance of precip on Wednesday. Now, we might not get much out of that, but if the humidity begins to rise, that is very, very good news for the firefighters. And let's keep everybody in prayer. Firefighters, police, EMT personnel, all those that are involved with it. Let's keep in prayer people that are at the different shelter centers. There's shelter centers in Taos, Peñasco, here at Memorial Middle School, Glorieta. I think even Santa Rosa has some, so scattered out and around. We got a report last night, emergency report that Sipapu was going to be on go status. So all of that canyon, once you get to the top of Holman Hill, was on go status. So that was looking too good out over there. And this thing probably by now, I'm not saying officially, but probably by now we're right around the 300,000 acres. We were at 290,000 acres last night. And depending on how much growth it had over the last 12 hours or so, it could be already up to about 300,000 and doesn't seem like it. What was containment? I think I saw containment. Last night's number was like 27% or something like that. And what most of us have been doing, me along with all of you guys, is getting on the Facebook page at 6 o'clock in the evening of the U.S. Forest Service and checking out the updates, the different people. And then you see them in the restaurant. You say, that's the guy that's been on, that's the guy. Anyway, a lot of shootings this last weekend, man. Milwaukee, Houston, California, New York. The one in California was a church. A guy went in and started shooting up a church. I think he killed one and wounded 4 or 5. And people, I just said this morning. Okay, I want to say this again. People are wound up over there, man. People are all wound up with all kinds of nerves and everything like that. Let's be nice to one another. Let's cut some slack for everybody that is out there. More music for you here on 90.
Every day, there's a choice.
Typically, there's a lot of pressure for genetic termination. This can be illustrated by a phone call we received this week.
Tom Bushnell and family know this firsthand.
They told her this baby with spina bifida won't walk, won't be able to use the bathroom, will probably be mentally retarded, will have an enlarged head, won't be able to play with her sister. And we counseled this mom and said, we have families who are willing to adopt this child.
Christian homes for special kids.
She said, although I know abortion is wrong by God, God gives us other choices in situations like this, such as abortion. I responded, yes, God does give us other choices, life choices, like adoption.
This message of life was brought to you by Focus on the Family. Be a voice for life. You can learn more about the sanctity of human life and how you can help at beavoice.net.
And that's one more baby who's going to be born into this world instead of thrown in the garbage heap.
This is Vicki Ray of CareNet Las Vegas, New Mexico, reminding you that we are open from 12:30 to 4:30, Monday through Friday, located at 106 Bridge Street on the corner of Bridge and Valencia. Come in and see us.
Dr. Chuck Missler, weekdays, right here on 95.7 KLYN, Las Vegas, New Mexico.
You could catch the broadcast of 6640 with Dr. Chuck Missler every Monday through Friday at 8:30 in the morning, and then rebroadcast at 8:30 in the evening here on the Good News radio station.
Siempre te alabaré, tu gran amor por mí me hace reír y cantar. Por tu perdón en mí siempre permaneceré. Eres tan bueno, quiero saltar y gritar. Por tu bondad en mí siempre te alabaré. Tu gran amor por mí me hace reír y cantar. Por tu perdón en mí siempre permaneceré. Y eres tan bueno, quiero saltar y gritar. Queremos cantarte. Santo eres Dios, invencible y fuerte. Siempre te alabaré, tu gran amor por mí me hace reír y cantar. Por tu perdón en mí siempre permaneceré. Y eres tan bueno, quiero saltar y gritar. Queremos cantarte. Santo eres Dios, invencible y fuerte. invencible y fuerte. Tu gran amor durará por siempre. Santo es Dios, invencible y fuerte. Tu gran amor durará por siempre. Santo es Dios, invencible y fuerte. Tu gran amor durará por siempre.
To Shelter singing Only You. I am showing 8.5 minutes before the hour of 8 o'clock. Coming up at the top of the hour, Way of the Master Minute with Kurt Cameron and Ray Comfort. But I have a song for my wife Eileen this morning. This is the Newsboy singing